Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for our webinar. We are here with Mark Galvin. He is going to be giving us a really great, timely webinar presentation on getting our social media right. I want to encourage everybody to submit questions as they come to you today. We're going to have a rolling answering question. So as Mark is presenting, I'm going to step in every now and then when we have a question or two to make sure that you guys are getting all the answers that you need, and Mark has been gracious to answer those questions as they come, so feel free to put them in the question box, and I'll be sharing those with the whole group. My name is Lane Conville-Canny. I'm the Senior Associate Director of the Office of Alumni Engagement here at Emory. I'm excited to bring this webinar to you guys as part of our Professional Career Development Program. We are super excited to have Mark with us. He is the CEO and founder of ePresence. He's a personal social media expert and specializes in blending technology, marketing, networking, and social branding. His company is ePresence. It manages the personal brand for professionals by focusing on social media. He has ePublicists, which I think is a very exciting role, and he has a whole team of folks that serve as personal information curators. They deliver additional services that increase career opportunities and drive higher ROIs on social media for his clients. He owns his own podcast called How's Your ePresence, which can be found on eTunes and all major podcast sites, and he keeps his listeners up to date on what they need to know about business professionals and social media. The tips include changes on LinkedIn and how to harness the power of Instagram and Facebook. He's a member of Rotary International and was recognized as the 2018 Rotarian of the Year. His organization, ePresence, was recognized as Business of the Year in 2018 by the DeKalb Chamber of Commerce. He's an Atlanta local with us in Tucker, Georgia, with his wife, Stephanie, of 27 years, and they have 3 children. Please join me in welcoming Mark. Mark, take it over.
Lane, thank you so very much. I'm thrilled to be here with all of you. Lane, I don't think I told you this before, but my mother went to Emory. So as a native Atlantan, I've been on and off the campus a good bit, and love the work that you guys do, and know a lot of Emory alums. I'm also very thrilled that we're doing a webinar. Webinars are the coolest thing in the world. Here I am, I'm sitting in my office, I'm working from home, and that is good and it's bad. I just want to warn everyone that I am expecting a delivery today, which means that my dogs may warn me that the delivery has come in the middle of this webinar. If that happens, please accept my apology in advance. We will press on, even though the dogs are urging me to go and get my package. So good afternoon at this point, everyone. Thrilled to be here. I am honored to spend some time with all of you, and let's go ahead and get rolling here. And come on, screen. There we go. That's exactly what happened last time. Okay. So first things first, a little bit about how a great tip immediately. What is something that each of you should be doing right on your social media now? And that is manage your handles. So if you look up here on the top corner of the screen, you'll see my handles. Notice they're all the same. So I do recommend that you look at your own personal brand and determine what handle would you like to use, and use it everywhere. It's good for 2 reasons. Number 1, it helps people find you. Number 2, it's easier for you to remember. So my handle everywhere is ePresenceMG. This is a great one for me because it's my organization. I'm going to be with this organization forever, so it's fine with me if I brand myself with my organization. So ePresence, M for Mark, G for Galvin. You'll find me everywhere. We also use the exact same format for our company. So our company handles are ePresenceME. So not ME, not MG for Mark Galvin, it's ME because that's our website, ePresenceME. So please feel free to connect with me and follow the content that we drop on social media, because we believe so passionately about this. Also, we do have a podcast, and Lane mentioned before, our podcast is How's Your ePresence? In fact, I record one this afternoon. We do that with Business Radio X, and we also drop some a la carte ones. Excited to say, just recorded a podcast this week, which will drop in a couple of weeks with the CEO of the Atlanta Convention and Visitors Bureau, William Pate. So this is going to be as interactive as you can make an online webinar. And part of that interactivity you'll see at the bottom. I want you to pull out your phone or your tablet. Yes, your phone or your tablet. Don't just use your computer. Grab your phone, grab your tablet, and I want you to have the LinkedIn app open, because I'm going to show you something that you'll be able to use in a couple of screens coming down the pike here. So there's our webcast. You can find us everywhere. I do want you to take a look at that. I am constantly sharing information that'll help you do professional business on social media. That's the whole purpose of that podcast. A little bit about ePresence. We were designed because people do business with people. People interact online with people. You need to activate your personal social media profile so that you can do business online. Here's the problem. A lot of people out there don't have the time, don't have the know-how, quite frankly, don't have the desire to do this themselves. So that's what we do at ePresence. We help people do business on a personal level, but we will manage it for them with, as Lane said before, with personal curators, and we call those folks e-publicists. We manage social media for organizations, for individuals. You know, we'll clean up the C-suite and go downstream and get all the business development folks activated because they're too busy doing their own type of work. Also note, if any of you are ever interested in having someone do some training, help get your LinkedIn for your entire team up to speed, or for yourself, feel free to reach out to me. Again, you can find me online. You saw those handles: ePresence, M for Mark, G for Galvin. ePresence MG is how you track me down on social media. Okay, now we have a quiz. Now, when we're in front of an audience, this is always fun, but we're going to do this a little silently. There's no need to respond. I just want you to think about this. What is the maximum number of friends that you can have on Facebook? Is it 10? Is it 20? Well, I think most of us know it's probably over at least a couple of hundred. You may have 100 or so. The maximum number is, in fact, 5,000. Okay, great, 5,000. What does that mean? Well, I'm going to compare this. Let's go over and take a look at LinkedIn. So if we look at the exact same thing, what's the maximum number of connections you can have on LinkedIn? And these are connections, not followers. There's a difference. Followers are the folks that can just follow you, whether and not connect to you. And unless you are an industry icon, you're probably not collecting a lot of followers. We would like that, but connections, not followers. What's the maximum number? May surprise you. It's 30,000. Why is this important? Well, you remember Facebook was 5, LinkedIn is 30. This shows you that LinkedIn really is looked at it from an aspect of you should probably connect to a lot more people. That your circle of influence on LinkedIn will be larger, so they have a higher limit. I will tell you, there's not a lot of people that I know that reach 30,000. So if you are worried about running out of space, you don't have to worry about that. First thing I'd like to do to kick off today is do let's do a poll. Lane is going to take over here. She's going to throw something on the screen, but I'd like to ask you guys some questions and get a feel for really the interaction, how you guys are, how active online. So what we've got is right here on the screen. By now, you should see a question that says, how do you use LinkedIn? I want you to select one of these. So how do you use it? Do you use it to find a job? Are you using it to get a promotion or further a career? What would that be like? That would be, let's say you're a COO in an organization, you'd like to be a CEO somewhere. Well, you're probably trying to get it to further your career. You want to find new clients. So maybe you're in sales, or maybe in business development, or maybe you lead a business or a sales organization. You're trying to find more clients to feed to find more revenue. That would be to find new clients. How about this? To stay in touch with friends, business colleagues, or clients. I love LinkedIn for that. I stay in contact with all the folks that I worked with many years ago. And then the last one is, you're on all social media platforms, so why not be here too? So select one of those, and Lane, give me an idea when those come in. Are you going to share those with me? I need your help.
Yeah, let's give it. We've got almost everybody.
So how do you use LinkedIn? There we go. Well, this is good. So far, And Lane, are results still coming in, or are these numbers pretty solid? Is this an active screen?
That's pretty solid, yeah.
Okay, so we have, so you see there, I think we all see this, 37% of you are looking to find a job, and I will, you're going to see some things today that's going to help you get found on LinkedIn so that you can get that job and maybe have somebody knock on your door if there is particularly recruiters. The number one source of revenue for LinkedIn are from recruiting firms. On the second step here, to get a promotion, I think this is, there's 16% of you that are interested in that. I think this is one of those overlooked areas. By the end of this call, those of you that are looking to find a job, you may be in a position where you'd like to get a promotion with your current job, and that may be part of that. Being relevant today is an important part of social media. So trying to get a promotion is an important space, or using LinkedIn to get a promotion is an important thing to consider. To find new clients, 5% of you are interested in that. We'll talk some about that. I'm going to let you know something. There's a big secret here. It's the number of 94% of buying decisions are influenced by social media. Now, the key word here is influenced. You influence people to purchase from you on LinkedIn or all social media platforms. Part of doing that is serving up great quality content so that so people remember you. You do have to reach out to people unless you're going to go with paid advertising. And I'm not going to talk about paid advertising today, but that's the area where you can find people to come to you. Maybe your organization needs to look into that. But we'll talk about how you can convert new clients by serving good content to them and making sure your profile looks fantastic. The last one is here, to stay in touch with friends, business colleagues, and clients. There's probably going to be a question. I do not cover this today, but that is how many people should you connect with? And I recommend that you connect with as many people as possible. We can delve into that if that becomes a question. But this is a great thing. You can use past business colleagues to help find a new job or to get a promotion because they know you well. And if they are willing to give you a recommendation on your profile, you're going to find out that that'll help you get a job or find a promotion. So great, Lane, let's move on. I'm going to click onto the next slide here. Thank you for running that for me. That was very enlightening. Here's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about the social demographics. I'm not going to go into it in huge detail here because I think this is a pretty advanced audience and all of you understand demographics, but we'll talk a little bit about it because I think it's important to highlight a way that you can leverage it. We're going to put LinkedIn to work, show you how you can have a better LinkedIn profile, and then do some of the hard work of how do you get active and what do you do to stay active, and then give you some tips on how you can leverage those posts. So that's where we'll head today. The first thing is we're going to talk demographics. So I checked out this morning. I do this every day before I have a presentation. Right now, LinkedIn is up to 610 million professionals. They're growing by 2 people every second. It is unbelievable. And I find that LinkedIn's probably the most genuine space there is when it comes to social media. There's been a lot of folks that'll pop onto LinkedIn. I think we've all seen this, and they share something that is not LinkedIn appropriate. Someone will say, hey, take that to Facebook. LinkedIn is a great place to interact with people, and it is a great business space. Why should you be here? Well, it's because it's really expected. And if you want to be seen as relevant or want to be relevant, you need to be here. So you should be harnessing LinkedIn. All right. So first things first, I want to show you that, and this is an old number. You see 575 million members, but I do like this graphic. It shows how international LinkedIn has truly become. And you can see the US is leading the pack, but I think it's very worthwhile to mention that if you notice, the UK has 25 million plus members on LinkedIn. They are per capita probably leveraging LinkedIn better than other sites. But of course, it's worth noting that you've got India with 50 million plus members, China 42 million, and over here you see Brazil doing very well. So those are some of the areas worth noting. Of course, there are probably some other countries that I could potentially highlight there we're gonna move on for the sake of time. This is a really interesting slide here, and if you look over here on the left, you'll see all the various social media sites. Google Plus can probably be deleted from here since that one's gone, but what it is important here is as you look over, the red bars on the right show that anything in red and pink is 100,000 and higher annual income. So 100,000 and higher annual income, and you'll see that LinkedIn has very affluent users. Now, what's interesting is this bar up here, and all of you are seeing this, that is Snapchat. So what that says to me is either young people, because Snapchat is all about young folks. Snapchat folks are either very wealthy or they just have no idea how much money they're making. But I will tell you this, you can see here LinkedIn is a very influenced space. It's a good spot to do business. The other thing is if you look at Pew Research, they always come out every year with this survey, which talks about the use of different online platforms by demographic groups. And this is a percentage of US adults who say they use, and I'm not going to go through this in detail. There's a lot of data here, but let's zoom in. Let's talk about Facebook. Facebook has 68% of US adults that say they use it. That's unbelievable. I mean, I'm gonna tell you what, from a business model, boy, that is just incredible penetration. But let's look at this piece here. If you look at education, and I want to set this up, if I'm determining which social media that I want to spend the most time on, and maybe I decide that my target audience is most appropriate, those people, or the ones that will be most appropriate, are those folks that are highly educated. I want people that have graduated from college or beyond, and that is true for me, for my target audience. So if I look at Facebook, this looks pretty impressive. I'm looking at, golly, look, high school or less, 60% of people that have high school degree or less are on Facebook. Some college, 71% of people who have some college are on Facebook, and college and beyond, 77%. All right, that's fantastic. So in fact, it skews to those folks who have more college education are on Facebook. But LinkedIn, as you look at right here at the top, you'll see 25%. So a quarter of US adults are on LinkedIn. Well, that certainly doesn't compare well with Facebook if you look at that. So maybe my demographic focus should in fact be Facebook. Well, hold on, folks. Let's look at this. If you look at high school or less, 9% of folks who have high school or less are on LinkedIn. That's interesting. 22% of those who have some college or less are on LinkedIn. But look at that. Half of all users have a college degree or more. So this would be a good demographic example. I'm trying to focus on folks who have a college degree or more. My focus is going to be on LinkedIn. Why? Because it's a target-rich environment. You need to do this when you determine where you're going to spend your time, because we have limited resource of time. And if I want to make sure I am getting the biggest bang for my buck, the bang for my time, I want to make sure I'm spending in the right place at the right time, reaching the right audience. So you can see LinkedIn is a good space for me because I am interested in those folks who have a higher education level. Why is it important? I think you guys all know this. Every time someone goes onto LinkedIn, they're looking at your profile and they're trying to figure out some things. They want to know, can they trust you, right? And your profile picture has a lot to do with that. Do you have the skills that can help respond to their needs? And do they want to hire you? Do they want to bring you in as an employee? Do they want to do business with you? They are evaluating. This is scary. Your LinkedIn profile, maybe not so scary. No, it's not scary. Your LinkedIn profile is your first impression. It used to be you used to walk up and shake somebody's hand. Today, you don't get to do that. The first impression is on your LinkedIn profile. So you need to make sure that it is doing the job that you want it to do. So very good. All right, first things first. We're going to, after we do this, we're going to answer some questions here. And this is where I want you to pull out your phone. All right, so pull out your phone, grab your LinkedIn, get your LinkedIn app up in front of you. And what I want you to do is look at this at the top of your screen on LinkedIn. What you'll see is there's the search bar. And in that search bar to the right, there's those four little boxes, four empty boxes and one little X. I want you to touch that. And when you touch that, this screen will come up. Now, if you have not done this before, your phone's going to say, hey, watch out, LinkedIn's trying to access your camera. So allow it to do that. You could turn this off if you don't like that feature. But for our example, flip it on, and what you'll get is your camera will appear with that box in the center. And what it's doing, it's looking for a QR code. So how many times have you been sitting with someone, you'd like to connect with them, you can't find them on LinkedIn because maybe their profile's not as optimized as yours, and you'd like to connect with them? Well, you can do it here. You bring up this scan, and all you got to do is scan their QR code. Well, the question is, well, great, Mark, where do we find the QR code? Well, that's right up here at the top. Right there at the top, you see my code. So if you touch my code, it will switch over to this screen right here. Oh, I just went backwards. Sorry, wrong button. Trying to drive my phone and the clicker at the same time is a little difficult. Well, this is a screen that's going to pop up. And notice here, there's the QR code. If you would like to, and if we were all sitting in a group, this would be easy to do, but you can scan my QR code and you can pull up my profile. So you can see how that works. So using your phone, scan my code, which is right there, and you'll automatically pull up my LinkedIn profile. This is a great way to connect with someone if you are right in front of them, maybe at maybe it's a seminar that you're at or a convention. You can quickly connect to someone. So the other thing worth noting is you could save this as a photo to your photos on your phone. So make it your home screen, make it your lock screen. And if somebody comes up, you can have that there and they can immediately pull up your profile just by scanning that because you have it as a lock screen on your phone. Good. So that's a little interaction piece. We're going to ask them, go to some questions before we move on. So Lane, do we have any questions?
We did have one question. Earlier we were talking about handles and how it's important for them to be consistent. One question came in: if your handles are already established and they're different, maybe because one of them wasn't available, how easy is it to switch them?
Well, that's a good question. They're easy if you're flexible. What you'll probably have to do is if you go on to LinkedIn, and you could, and well, let me rephrase that. If you got to figure out which social media is going to be the most important to you, right? So what handle do you want to start with? And if LinkedIn's it, then start there. I would start with LinkedIn. Go into LinkedIn. You can grab your custom URL on LinkedIn by landing on your profile and looking in the top right corner on your profile, and you can click there and customize your URL. But go there and find out what's available. So I have a couple of ideas and you can plug them in there and LinkedIn will serve up whether you can use that or not. I would start there. Is it easy? Yes. The problem is you've got to think about where are you going to be in 5 and 10 years? Are you going to be the same company in 5 and 10 years? If you are, great. You could use that branding with your organization. If you're not, you're one of those folks looking for a job, then you probably want to find something that's more unique to you, but you don't want to be, don't do something that's flippant or cute. You want to do something that is a little bit bland, but easy to remember. So you don't want to say great cat guy. You want to go with something that is on that professional side, maybe your name, maybe your name with a simple number, but whatever it is, use something that you'll be able to remember that you can carry with you for 5 and 10 years. Good.
Great,
Any other questions?
Mark. That's it for now.
All right, perfect. Good. So we're going to move on here. The first thing we're going to look at on your profile is this, our profile photos. Now, I got to tell you something about profile photos. This is one of those things that people get a little squeamish about, and they're not so sure what type of photo is going to work best. We're going to give you some methods of ways that you can find the very best profile. But here's why this is so important. 80% of your profile evaluation comes from your headshot. 80%. That's a little daunting. So if you don't have a good profile, you could lose the opportunity to do business with someone or get a job. So you've got to have a good profile picture. We need to spend some time and focusing on that. I'm going to show you some examples. The rest of these pictures are all taken from LinkedIn, including this guy with the pipe. So let's go through the first one. The first one here, this one is one of my favorite because it does break so many rules that you need to follow. The first one is you need to have a picture of just you, not you and 100,000 of your very best friends. It needs to be very specific, that it's easy to identify who the profile picture is of, and they can interact. Consider this, and I mentioned this before, it's like they're shaking hands with you. They walk up, they're going to shake hands with you, they're going to do what? They're going to look at you in the eye. Well, you need to make sure we can see your eyes. So this one has an example of somebody with sunglasses on. Don't have a profile photo with sunglasses. The other thing is, you need to make sure that you do not have a selfie. And this is obviously a selfie. It looks like, this nice lady just said, hey, let's get a picture together, and then it became a profile picture. Selfies don't work well. Lighting's typically bad. It doesn't really show you well. And also hats, I don't recommend hats. The last thing, which is not necessarily as obvious, is I don't recommend school colors. So I don't know who are the competitors off the top of my head for Emory, but I like to use this example. This guy is obviously at a Michigan State game, the Michigan State Spartans. I'll guarantee you, if a Michigan grad pulls up this profile, it is extremely likely that they're not going to do business with him. That in fact, they are probably going to, without even thinking about it, move on and try to find someone that is not from a direct competitor. In Atlanta, this is probably very worthwhile to mention that a Georgia Tech grad shouldn't be in Georgia Tech colors, and a Georgia grad shouldn't be Georgia colors unless you work for those institutions. This is an interesting picture. This young lady just graduated from college. She is in artistic design. She wants to do something on the art side. And I think that that's great. However, we really can't see her at all. Need to be able to see her picture, her eyes. That is such an important part of a profile picture. This gentleman is an architect. He specializes in domes. I always hate that one because I can't hear anybody laugh. But this guy, obviously you can't see his whole face. So good example of what not to do. This is a great profile picture. Here's why I like this. Two things. Number one, we can see your face very well. It's well lit. Lighting from the front of your face will make you look younger because your wrinkles don't appear. Lighting from the top will really highlight those wrinkles. The other thing is that her background is really interesting. She works in the hotel business, and that's a hotel that's out of focus in the background. So it's a very smart look to create something that's a little more interesting and have that textured background. Now, this is a profile picture that I like. He's friendly, he's approachable, and the problem is the background's a little boring. So let's go to something that's a little more interesting. This picture, there's a good profile here. He doesn't have a tie on. Ties do not make a difference today, so don't feel like you need to have a tie on, men out there, unless you are in a business that requires a tie. A collared shirt is very important. Again, unless you're in the type of business where you don't need a collared shirt. You want to show up in your profile picture as if you would show up to a business meeting. But I like this one because it's still very approachable. You can see his eyes. You see his picture, a lot of people are going to say, yeah, I like this guy. I want to do some business with him. Now, the problem that we all have is we have profile pictures that we are particularly fond of, and those profile pictures are sometimes hard to decide which one is the best one. And I'm going to jump ahead here. And that didn't work. Let me come back. Here we go. This is a site that I want all of you to think about, to remember. So write this one down. It's called photofeeler.com. Photofeeler, P-H-O-T-O, feeler.com. Here's what this site does. It's a crowdsourced photo evaluation site. So what happens here is you go in, you drop on photos, your favorite profile photos that are out there, and random people are going to come up and give you their very first impression of what they think your photo looks like. So as an example, this picture is my profile photo, and you can see that down here, they rated me on competence, likability, and influence. And so they'll get the opportunity that random pictures will come by and people will land on this, and they just simply page through it. And you can see that 98% of people thought that I was competent, 81% found me likable, and 99% influential with this picture. I plugged in a whole bunch of pictures on this site to get the feeling from them. Here's what's important to know. Darker colors are typically better. Collared shirts are better. Ties don't mean anything. For the ladies in the audience, that is the same thing for you. You want to be in a jacket. Jackets will make you look more competent and influential. So that's very important. Darker colors help complement that. Lighter colors will drive your likability score up. So you got to just determine what makes the most sense. This is a free site if you want to contribute and judge other pictures, or for no more for only $5 you can get 40 evaluations of your photos and be able to walk away with some independent feedback there. Now, profile photos, do's and don'ts. So these are the things I just want to highlight. No selfies, don't wear sunglasses, make sure it's just you. You can see the whites of your eyes, and that's an important piece I didn't really speak enough on. By seeing the whites of your eyes, it means that your picture is cropped close enough where we can see your eyes. That sometimes feels a little uncomfortable when we're cropping our picture that way, but do remember some of the formats that your picture is going to be a little smaller. So make sure you can see the whites of your eyes in your profile. Have an interesting background. The interesting background, just this is a social media platform. Just having a headshot with a flat background does not really speak to the format you're on. And be friendly and natural. This is also speaks to if you're in a business where it's a very serious business, then you may not want to be friendly and natural. So if you're a lawyer, it's probably not a good idea to have a friendly, natural picture depending on the type of litigation that you're focused on. Now, I skipped over banners. I want to go back to that. So I'm going to slide this back. If my screen shrinks down again, I apologize. We'll get back into it. But here's what's important. I want to share how banners are important. So banners are this section right behind your picture. They do not help your, they definitely do not help with search. I consider these banners to be like the difference between walking in a hotel lobby that has tile or one that has marble. The marble lobby is always going to have a better feel and give you a much more polished, it's just more finished. Here's an example. We used this gentleman. We took the same profile banner and we put it on his LinkedIn profile and his Twitter profile, so the branding's consistent. You can use logos on it. So here's an example of Ms. Debbie Sessions. She works for Porter Cater Moore, and we use their logo to build a banner. Kind of creates an interesting format. This gentleman, the COO of Delta Community Credit Union, has a photograph of the credit union in the background. This is mine. I created something from stock photo, dropped my logos on it, created a brand awareness piece. So having these banners are very smart. What you don't want to do is create something that has some sort of verbiage that's obscured by the content on the page. This is an old LinkedIn profile format. The profile photo now appears on the left, or it moves to the middle based on whether you're using a phone or an iPad or a tablet. Do keep that in mind so that your banner is not blocked by the content that LinkedIn serves up there. The other thing that's important is when people are looking to connect with you, you can also see the banners. So this is brand new, by the way. So when someone lands on their who should you connect with, you can see how the banners appear, whether people have one or not, and it does create a very either a good or a bad first impression. So consider that. These banners are something that are easy to find. You can see this. It looks like that's a cityscape of Atlanta for Lynn Durden down here on the bottom. That is a great idea. It's very nonpartisan, so to speak. You're not focused on one thing or another. Having a location-based cityscape is certainly a great way to attack that. Well, good. Lane, I think it's time to ask to see if there are any questions out there. Anything new?
Yeah, we've got a great one from Michelle. What are your recommendations for separating professional and personal profiles? For an example, she uses LinkedIn for professional contacts and Facebook for personal. She tries to keep them separate, but oftentimes colleagues and organizations want to connect with her on Facebook.
Good, great question. I think the first thing is, and this goes without saying, You need to make sure that you never say something on Facebook that your professional side of the world would frown upon. I think that goes without saying. However, you need to look at what is your goal? What is your mission? We all need to think about that when it comes to professional social media. What are you trying to achieve? And if achieving that goal means that you need to pay attention to Facebook, that it needs to be more professional because your audience is there. That's an important thing. Where is your audience and are you speaking to them on Facebook? Then you need to be careful that you are not creating, you're not creating a profile that's going to do damage. I do think that depending on your career, and I mentioned this also before, you got to look at 5 to 10 years out. Where are you going to be in 5 and 10 years? Is your social media today going to cause problems? Is your social media today going to help you get you whatever you aspire to? So I recommend look at Facebook. It is personal space. I will tell you, I have a Facebook page that is very personal, and I share, not very personal, I share a lot of personal content, but I also manage it where I do share professional in there. I kind of sprinkle it in there. Why? I got a lot of friends that are executives, and my audience on Facebook could potentially hire me, could potentially want me to help them. So I have my personal stuff that is, and I'm always considering my audience on, even on Facebook. What I put there is not, hey, look at me, I'm doing this. Look at me, I'm doing this. I share content that I think my audience will find intriguing and interesting. But I'm also very aware that I could earn business off of that page. So I want to always be managing my brand there as well. Good. Any other questions? That's a good question.
Thanks, Mark. We've got several questions regarding stock photos and stock banner images. Are there any sites that you could point folks to find some good pre-made photos and banners they could use for their profile?
Yes, good question. First thing is you can certainly go on to Google Images and look for a higher pixeled photo and crop it down and put it in there. You can do this as long as you are not selling that image or you're not using that to create revenue. So if you're looking for a position or a promotion, you can do that. If you're in sales, I would be careful, and you want to make sure that you're not using a photo that is copyrighted. If you are interested in creating your own banner, I recommend a website called Canva, C-A-N-V-A. They can help you create a banner that'll work on your profile. The other thing is you can certainly there's a number of stock photo sites that are out there that are complimentary. And I'm going to multitask here, and I'm not going to stop the pace of our conversation, but I'll do this on my side screen here, and I'll give you one of the free ones. And that's a good question that has not come up before, but I use a free site myself for stock photos that you can pull content from, and it comes with a copyright. So I'll get that. I'll come back to you and share that at the end of the presentation. Good. Any other questions?
We have another question from Michael. He feels that his website is for his personal brand, but not his company's brand. Do you recommend having a company-themed background if you're not the owner?
Yeah, I think that again, it depends on what your mission is, but I will tell you something. If your company can help you achieve your mission, then I'd put a company style branded banner on my profile because you can pull that down. It is always something you can change in the future. So I don't think that hurts you. If you want to have a conversation, a deeper conversation about that, because there could be some other nuances in that question that may not be appropriate to discuss here, you can shoot me an email, and I'd be happy to have that chat with you. My email's super easy. It's mark@epresence.me. mark@epresence.me, and I put that up at the end of the presentation too. You can always shoot me a question. I'd be happy to chat with you about that. Good. What other questions?
That's it for now.
Perfect. All right, so doing a time check here. We're at 12:40, so we got 20 minutes. All right, we're doing well. So the next thing we're going to talk about is your headline. This is a very important part of your profile. And the reason this is so important is because it is directly affecting your search engine optimization. Yes, you need to consider that in LinkedIn. So what I want you to do is this, and this is the first step. I want you to come up with 20 words that describe what you do. I'm not interested in words like competent and professional and experienced. Throw those words out. What I want you to focus on are those words that describe your skill set. So for me, it is a speaker, a social media manager. There's 3 words. List those words out, all those words that describe you. So Lane, I would say, you are in the alumni development. Goodness gracious, I've just had a brain cramp. But you get the gist, right? What are those things that you do, and how do you achieve those? So those are important words. So come up with 20 of them. If you come up with 20 really fast, I want you to go 30. I really want you to stretch. Then once you've done that, rank your words from 1 to 20 or 1 to 30. 1 being the most important of those words, and 20 or 30 being the least important. Then once you have those, you're going to take those and you're going to build those into your headline and then your summary. What is the headline? The headline is this. Oh, go back. The headline is that piece at the top of your profile right here, Robert Cazone, and he does not say Cazzoni, it's Cazone. His headline is right there. It says Cumberland Hospitality. That's his headline. Well, that's kind of worthless, and no offense to Robert, because Cumberland Hospitality appears on the top of his page anyway. What we need to do is we need to optimize that to really describe what Robert does. Robert is a special event, destination, conference, and program manager, transportation specialist, and event execution. These are words that someone may use to search for him. That's what I want all of you to think about. What words describe you? You don't want to make this salesy for those of you that are in sales. This needs to be just the facts, man. Just the thing. When I land on here, I don't need to know that Robert can book my next event. I need to know that I want to hire Robert, or I want to bring Robert into my organization because he has this skill set. Now, I did tell you 20 words, right? What are you going to do with the rest of those words? Well, what we're going to do, we're going to do a break. Oh, this is good. So I forgot this came here. We're in the second third of the presentation. We're going to do another interactive piece. Remember those 20 or 30 words. We're going to come back to those because I'm going to use those in the summary coming up. Here's the next thing. We're going to pull out your phone. This is a great exercise to also connect to people. So when you get to your phone, pull up your LinkedIn app, and what I want you to do is at the very bottom of the screen, you see the blue arrow there. It's pointing to the people symbol. It's actually your connections at the bottom. So if you touch those, what happens is the next screen looks like this. Maybe not, you probably don't have the same people on yours that I had on mine, but at the very top, you'll see Find Nearby. Touch Find Nearby. And when you do that, this screen pops up. Now, if we were all in the same room together, what would happen are all the people that open this app with us right now will start to populate in that section that says, where is everyone? And it would look like this. And what's cool about this is if I'm at a banquet and I got everybody at the table of 10 that I want to connect with to open up their app and to do this with me, we could all connect with each other. Or say I'm at an alumni association meeting and we're all sitting together and Lane's standing up in front of the room and she says, all right, everybody open this app. We can connect immediately to everybody in the room. And if we're already connected to someone, it'll tell us that also. So this is a great way for you at your meetings or your civic groups or your professional programs, the ways to connect to everybody in the room. If you can get all the folks that run your programs to do this, you'll be able to connect to the people that you interact with often. So good. All right. We got our 20 or 30 words. What are we going to do with the rest of them? We're going to use them in our summary. So the summary is the section here below your header. And so the summary is 1,985 characters. You got a lot of words here. I need to make sure you know this. You've got to optimize this. How do you do that? Take your remaining 20 words and use those words in a description of what you do. You've got to figure out if you want to go first person or third person, because who's your audience? So I'm going to tell you right now, if I am a regional vice president like David is, he needs to be in third person. If I am in the middle of an organization, I probably need to be in first person. But you have to answer that question. Consider your audience. Where are you in your career? And consider your industry also. That is a big deal. That's a big part of that. And then build out all of those extra words that you could not use in your header. You put them in here. I also recommend trying to list where you meet people. Let's see. Here's an example. This gentleman, actually, we don't have it on here. This is interesting. I read this. This is a good description of all the things that he's done, but I would add one more line down here where he meets people. So if he is involved in an association or an organization, I'd list out those organizations here, because where he meets people is going to have a big impact. And here's why. Next slide. Hopefully we'll cover this, and it will. Yes. So if you are, I'm going to jump ahead here. I'll come back to talk about names. If you're involved in a civic group, like I'm involved in the DeKalb Chamber of Commerce, and I'm involved in the Rotary, and I'm a graduate of Marist here in Atlanta, what I would do is I want to make sure I list those out in my summary. So this is a segment right out of my summary, because it is search engine active. As soon as I plug these words in here and I go in and I search, and this is not connected to me, and I search my name with one of the locations where I meet people, I will show up. So why is this important? Let's say that I meet Lane at a networking event, and I cannot remember Lane's last name, but let's say we met each other at the DeKalb Chamber of Commerce. I could go in and type in Lane in DeKalb, and I'm going to find her, because she's going to show up because she has DeKalb Chamber of Commerce listed in her summary. That's why that's important. This helps people find you. So very, very important. Also, let's go back here for a second and talk about names. This is huge. If you introduce yourself, and when you meet people and it's a shortened name, so for example, this is Catherine M. Bailey or Kate Bailey. Let's say Kate Bailey introduces herself as Kate Bailey. That's the name she needs to use in LinkedIn. Don't use that name that may appear on your business card, because that's not how people are going to search for you. You want to make sure if Catherine M. Bailey introduces herself as Kate Bailey, that's how she needs to put her name on her LinkedIn summary or LinkedIn profile. And then build out below that all the other things that'll help distinguish her from all the other Kate Baileys, because there's a ton of them on LinkedIn, so that people know they're finding the right person. Good. All right. So we've got 12 minutes left. The next thing we're going to talk about is, how do you stay active? This sounds easy, but it's not. I think we all know this. The thing I want all of you to think about is, this is so important because of how LinkedIn prioritizes each of us on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn likes people that are active, who interact with other people. So make sure you're liking posts and you're commenting on posts. That is the easiest thing to do. And there's always something that you can say. There's always something out there that you can comment on. We also need for you to be consistent. I recommend Tuesday morning. When you get to your computer on Tuesday morning, you need to say something, you need to post something, you need to interact with someone or some posts, or post something on LinkedIn at Tuesday morning. So if you put it on your calendar and you get used to it, you're active and you're there consistently. Why Tuesday? Tuesday morning is the busiest time on LinkedIn for each of the time zones between 7 and 8 o'clock. I think it has something to do with, people come in on Monday, they're busy, they're playing catch up, they land at their desk Tuesday morning like, okay, Monday's done. I think I'll go check out LinkedIn. So it's a good time to jump on LinkedIn. Also, paying members, I'm not encouraging you to be a paid member. What I am encouraging you, all I want you to know is, it's that paid members do show up higher in search results. So how do you get active? It's as easy as this. Just post. Well, that sounds easy. The easiest way to post is by curating other content. And it's not going to always optimize your post if you just drop in a link and don't say anything. So you need to drop a link of something that you think is interesting and say something about it. Also, you need to make comments about somebody's post. I do recommend this. There's this feeling of you should share someone else's post. So I keep using Lane as the example because I know she's on the call. So if Lane shares something with me, shares something, it shows up my feed, and I find it just really fascinating. I think I may need to share that to my profile. Don't do that. Comment on it. Your comments will push it to your profile, and it'll optimize the post for both her and you more so than just sharing it. So I recommend skipping the share feature. But you can write an article, you can drop photos, and you can also use videos and native videos. Let's go through each of those. So if you haven't noticed, this is what the posting screen, the option right on LinkedIn looks like. So you click on that little button there, that little feed at the top, which is start a post. This is not how it looks for mobile. I apologize, we're just gonna do the desktop version today. And when you do that, this is what happens. It comes up, what do you want to talk about? I want you to notice some things here. Number one is, as soon as you start to post up here, what do you want to talk about disappears, but you got these hashtags at the bottom. Consider adding hashtags to whatever post you're putting up. Here's why. It helps expand your audience. Someone can go in and they can search hashtag social media, and my post will appear in front of them even though I'm not connected to them. So this will help optimize your post to reach a larger audience. Great. So I want to type something in here. Here's what I've decided. I'm going to take this article that's on hospitality.net, and I'm going to congratulate my good friend Heather Buss, who got a promotion. So I'm going to take that. I grab the link, I drop it on here. Notice the link disappears, but it's there. It shows at the bottom that it's there. And I say, congratulations, I tag Heather Buss. You need to tag people. Tagging people on your post is huge. How do you tag someone? Easy as this. As you're typing, get to this part, you put an ampersand sign and you start typing Mark Galvin, and I will appear. A little window will appear below that. You can select my name. I just did that. I said at Heather Buss. Her name appeared. I selected her, and I said congratulations on your appointment. And I tagged her organization. And look at all the hashtags I put in here. Why? Because it expands the audience. But for both me and her, this is good news for her. This is a great way to interact with your audience by tapping somebody on the shoulder, giving a good pat on the back. When you review posts, when you're doing this piece, this comes up. If you attach your Twitter account, you can post to Twitter from here. I think that's a great idea. Do that. You cannot put Facebook on LinkedIn, quite interestingly. And you can also attach to your groups. We're not going to get into groups today, but make sure you are a member of groups that share your interests. You can also write an article. So when you click write an article, I went too fast. Apologize to all of you for that. Right there at the top, you see I'm clicking that button at the bottom. It says write an article. Click that, and then you can go in and it shows you the screen. This is basically LinkedIn's version of blogs. So you can go in, you can drop in a blog, put a fancy picture on it, the whole bit. Well, I have a revelation for all of you, and that is that if you don't write blogs now and you're not putting them on your website, I would not waste your time with this. These little posts don't really reach as large an audience as a regular post does. But if you're posting blogs, I recommend that you do this. Plug this in here, use the graphics, put a little bit of tease on the top end of the post here, and push them to your website so they can see your blog there. There's photographs. You've got to remember that photographs are always a great way to grow your audience and grow interaction. So make sure you're posting pictures as often as possible. You always get a larger audience whenever you post a picture. The next thing is you can post a video, and I'm moving it fast again because we're running out of time. But if you look here to the right, you'll see there's the little camera. It's a video camera in this case. They got it flipped sideways. Here's why this is so important. If you use Vimeo, I recommend posting your videos there and then sharing them into LinkedIn because LinkedIn sees them as native. But when you do this, make sure you're tagging the people in the videos. You can see how my wife is a corporate recruiter. She and I did this together. I tagged my company, and we talked about how you can do a better job of finding a job. look out here at the bottom. This video got 5,578 views. I always get a question, what does that really mean? That means that the people watched this video for at least 3 seconds. That's what that means. They saw the video for at least 3 seconds. So videos are a great thing, and you don't need to spend a long time trying to figure out videos. Sometimes the more rough they are, the larger the audience you'll get. Why do you want to be active? Because here's what happens. People start to value your voice. They start to see you as a subject matter expert. It'll help people see that they should hire you or they should do business with you. And people are going to start sending you business. They're going to start referring folks over to you. The last thing is what do you post? I want you to remember the stage presentation test. And this is simply this. Get onto a stage. Imagine this. You get up on a stage and you're going to read and you're going to show your post. And in the audience, our family members, our bosses, our fellow, are your peers, are the people that you went to school with, are the people that you're going to work with in the future. Everybody, maybe significant loved ones, or even the parents of your children's friends. You get the picture. If you can't read it, if you can't show it, don't post it. And I think all of you are really sharp. You're going to know the difference on that. So it will help you. I think that'll hopefully help you figure out if you should post something or not. Remember, politics are going to alienate half of your audience. I wouldn't talk about sex, and I wouldn't talk about religion on your professional social media because you're going to alienate part of your audience. Great. Lane, are there any other questions that have come up before we start to close here?
We do. We've got some great questions.
Great.
Larry wants to know if volunteer experience is searchable within LinkedIn.
Good question. It is if you are connecting yourself to that volunteer organization. It is not it's not something that's going to really trigger the search unless you put that in your summary. So if volunteer experience is important to you, I'd drop it in your summary. That's where the search is most potent.
Great. We've got two more. What about posting volunteer work and or a side hustle that may become a second job one day?
So I'm going to come back to asking a question, and that is, what is your mission? You got to remember this. What are you trying to achieve? And if you think that that is going to become your future career, then it's probably not a bad idea. Also, is it going to alienate anyone where you're currently working? So there's not a real firm answer to that. I'm sorry that I'm not giving you the straight up yes or no, but you've got to figure out what's important to you. And once you've figured that out, then you can delve a little deeper and understand how to approach that.
Great, thanks. I think our last question is going to be, does having a premium account make you seem desperate for a job? Do you get less clicks as people lose anonymity?
No, absolutely not. In fact, there's a career function on LinkedIn that I'd recommend if you're looking for a job. You don't have to let anybody know that you're on a paid plan. That little icon that appears on paid plans, you can pull it down if you want. You don't have to show that. I don't think that it's a bad idea to do that at all, because you'll show up higher search results in when headhunters are looking for you, or executive recruiters, they can find you easier. Good. So I have that website I wanted to share, and it's photodune.net. Photo, P-H-O-T-O Dune, D-U-N-E.net. There's a paid version of that, and then there is a free version, and some of the paid versions they're only $2 for a photo. So that's the site that I use for stock photos. Good. Any other questions out there, Lane?
I think that's it for now.
Good. Well, fantastic. Well, I wanted to share that I appreciate the time that all of you have given us today. You can see my contact information right there on the screen and our social media site, so feel free to follow us and let me know if there's any other way I can help each of you. Thank you for the time.
Thanks so much, Mark, and thanks to everyone who joined us. We have posted an event of interest if you're in the Atlanta area. joining the Young Alumni for a workshop on April 2nd called How to Build Your Brand Authentically. The link is on our chat. Please go to that to register. And while you're there, even if you're not interested in the April 2nd day, please go to engage.emory.edu for a great calendar of all sorts of upcoming webinars and events in Atlanta and around our country to stay engaged with Emory. And thanks so much for participating. We'll be sending Mark's slides out with his contact information and a brief survey. We'd love to hear any other topics that you guys would like to have delivered to you. And wish you a happy Thursday until next time. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.